And I thank those who stood, especially my brother there, at the time, even if you were a lone voice, be alone. We must have senators who agree with us. That is what we want. Even if we go and fail, we fail. But it is better to fail being right than be on the side of wrong. That is what we want. And we're going to do that. For Nigeria, do not fear anybody. Those who feared yesterday had not done it better. We must speak when things are wrong. Nigeria is collapsing. Anybody can say anything. The numbers are clear. The indices are clear. Very clear. More and more people are poorer. If you want, go to your village. The people who are begging now are no longer, there are even people who are that are no longer people who used to feed and I'm begging. Even in this hotel. Every time I enter this hotel now, I see people who are telling me, Oga, I just came to Abuja, I can't go back. In this hotel. So that shows you, these are where I used to come here. People say, Oga, will you drink? Come and eat. Come and do this. Nobody's offering me anything now. They're asking me to bring something. That shows how bad it is. When you now see somebody with that, but I'm telling you, I can't go back. You see, they don't enter anybody. So let us know that things are difficult, things are bad. It is time for all of us to come together.
I want to start by asking you this question. How many times do you get a phone call on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, from friends, loved ones, family members for you to give them some money? Now, I'm not talking about just the people in the rural areas that you would get a phone call every now and again. I'm talking about everyday regular people who were doing well before May 29, 2023, when Tinubu took over. He says Nigeria is collapsing. And he says, do not fear anyone. We're going to break this down because sometimes it's the bread and butter matter that you really use as indicators to measure how things are, whether good or bad. But before we do that, please, if you're watching this for the first time, like, share, and subscribe. And also participate in the comment section. And if you've been following us and you're yet to subscribe, please subscribe. And also click on the notification bell as well so that you can get notified when we release new content. But I want you to watch this because this is about you and I talking now, right? Remember, this channel is about me and you having conversations and bringing those inner things from private conversation out now so we can discuss them in the public forum so that others can be part of it and we can share experiences. So I asked this question. How often do you get calls from your friends who were otherwise doing well before, but now are struggling? Peter Obi said, things are bad. Nigeria is collapsing. It's one thing for the pro-government guys to say, no, things are getting better. There's another thing for me and you who are feeling the bite and the pinch of this economy, this administration, to say, no, it's not. I'll start with the bread and butter stuff. Before Tinubu came into power, you could buy a bag of pure water. I think it's a bag of 20 that is in it. You could buy that for what, 250, 200 naira for 20. At the moment, you can only buy one. In some places, 50 naira. If you see that, some other places, 100 naira. So you've gone from buying 20 for 250 to 1 for 100. Just to tell you the kind of economic policy you're dealing with. And they say you should be patient. You go from buying fuel from between 180 to 220 or thereabout per liter to 1,000 naira. It went up to 1,500 and came down 1,100, some places 980, 800, and it went back as well again, fluctuating. And they tell you to be patient. 50 kg of rice. Before you could buy that for around 20k, 25,000 thereabout. Now you're going to buy about 80 to 90,000 for 50 kg of rice. And the same thing for beans. Where you could pay 100,000 for a bag of 50 kg beans, now you're paying about 175k to about 200,000. These are indicators to show you how bad. So when government policies are bad, they're reflected in the lives of the people. Let's take this case in point. Donald Trump started the tariff war. It didn't take about a week for people to call him out because globally everyone could feel it, but Americans started to feel it. Guess what? With the outcry of the people, we had to revert it. At least put a stop on them for now. When policies are bad, it's not for you to actually try and sugarcoat it and try and placate the administration. You have to call it out quickly so that they can fix it because it's just policy. Perhaps in their bid to do the country well, they're trying to do new, policies that will make the country better, but they failed. And you have to call them so they can revert it, or reverse it rather. Things are bad. Nigeria is collapsing. If Nigeria has not yet collapsed, that's what the case is. Let's look at other indicators. The judiciary. Like, if you are pro this administration, for example, the way things have unfolded since they took over, will you, if you had a case in court, will you beat your chest and say you're sure that the judge, especially if you have that against a very prominent person, will you beat your hand on your chest and say you're sure that the judge will be fair or the trial will be free from corruption? Look at our legislature, for example. Can you not see how collapsed our system has gotten to? Where our legislators got bribed to allow government, the executive decision to pass. Can you beat your chest and say, if you look at this National Assembly today, you'll be happy with it? Or let's come to your state. Look at Lagos State, for example. Look at the fight between Miranda and the other man. Look at Rivers State. Look at what is going on. Look at Rivers State. Look at the idea of an administrator where a duly elected governor and the lawmakers are sacked by president when the constitution does not allow that. But yet the legislature allowed it. We're waiting for the court to decide eventually. But then the destruction would have happened. Okay? Look at the exchange rate. That exchange rate affects the cost of living of everything because we import everything that we eat in Nigeria. Businesses have gone down because they can't import it. Exchange rate is about God knows what. You even eat all the profit before you even get anything anyway. Look at security, for example. Can you be sure that if you want to travel the road of Nigeria, for example, you want to go from the south to the north, are you sure you're not going to be kidnapped? I dare anyone to say they can take that kind of journey easily and be okay. In their mind, they feel like the roads will be safe for them. So as I'm talking to you, you know what I'm talking about. So you put your response if you agree or not. The cost of living. Even the people in the diaspora feels it because they're the ones subsidizing for the government. Now they have to increase whatever they're giving their loved ones in Nigeria because things are not easily affordable anymore. So if you're in the comment section and you live abroad, put your comment in the tell us how you now have to adjust whatever you're giving as stipends to support your family members if you've had to increase it because of the cost of living that they are feeling the pinch. And the thing is this, there are no jobs. Let's look at the corruption in our system. Take the case of Dele Farotimi, a person that was impounded from his state, Lagos State, all the way to Ekiti because they did not follow due process. See the corruption. Look at Amoyele Sowore, for example, for criticizing the police inspector general. His travel passport was seized. Corruption. And the judiciary, is used to impound him back and keep him and say he's a flight risk. Somebody who's been to jail and came back and he's come back to Nigeria at every given point in time, they seize his passport, says a flight risk. And you see how bad our system has been. So if you're telling me it's not collapsed yet, I want to argue with you and other people as well want to say, okay, let's assume that it's collapsing like Peter Obi said. How do we bring it back? So I'm just giving you all these indicators to use to measure whether or not Nigeria is moving forward or moving backward. Now, to crown it all, people are dying in Nigeria. Our president is in France relaxing. For 2 weeks, the president goes to France to relax. Why? His own citizen, the number one chief security officer of the country, is sleeping in France and relaxing and assessing himself and his administration, while the people he's meant to be administering are dying. For 2 weeks, tell me, which president in this world, advanced world, would you think would take a day out of his office to go to another man's country? Not because he's on holiday. He wants to go and assess his administration and midterm. Look at our schools. It's nothing to write home about. We're still doing courses that have been dealt with and done with 20 years ago. We're doing those courses now in our schools. Look at our medical students. They're in school. They can't finish their projects because their governing bodies cannot have the slot for them to, and they've been out of school for 2-3 years. I'm addressing these basic things right now that you use to measure the growth of your country. So you answer in the comment section if you agree with me. If the rot is not deepened so badly for 2 years now, especially if we go back 8 years, 10 years ago when Buhari took off. Do not fear. Say don't fear, but we have to speak up. Our politicians have become demigods. Look at our police. Our police are poorly equipped. Look at where they live. Go and see their police barracks. You yourself will believe, you feel for them while they come to you, to come on the roads with aggressiveness because they need to feed their family members, just because politicians refuse to cater for them. They're not well looked after. The other day, Ali Ndume mentioned on TV, said, our military, we're not encouraged, they're not equipped, they're not well trained. That's how bad our system has collapsed. So you cannot tell me that Peter Obi is not saying the truth. I'm saying all of this right now because I want you to put your one in the comment section, whether or not you agree to what I have said. But really, is Nigeria not fully collapsed, or is Nigeria not on the brink of collapse? If your president can be abroad while his people are getting killed, there's complete ethnic cleansing going on in Plateau State. But yet, the president can call a state of emergency for State of Rivers State where they need to win election for 2027. And put an administrator to decimate the entire structure of the system of the state because of their resources. So you tell me whether or not Nigeria is not collapsing. So this is me and you having this chance. So I want you to put your comment in the comment section if you agree with it or not. If you're abroad and you've been one supporting people, have you had to increase the amount you've been given? If you've been one of those people who've had incidences with kidnapping or family members or loved ones have been kidnapped, put that in the comment section. Let people now come and see how easy it is and how difficult it is as well. And don't say give them chance. Listen, people are suffering. People are dying. Our healthcare system has failed. So before we say give them chance, fix those things first of all. So put your comments in the comment section. Let's have this deliberation, this discussion. And as always, if you're meeting this content for the first time, like, share, and subscribe. And if you've been following us, subscribe as well. Like and share, and also recommend this channel to others because we need everyone to be participating in this. And then we need everyone's commentaries as well. Let's have a conversation. Civil, intelligent conversation. That's what we have on this channel. As always, God bless you. Catch you up in the next video. Bye-bye for now.